Hey boys and girls, welcome back. It's me, Keith, the Misprint Guy, and welcome to week 17, in which I share with you all kinds of strange and unusual cards from a game called Magic the Gathering. Misprints, test prints, if there's something downright weird with it, I want to share it with you. Now, what do I have for you this week? Well, it was week 3 in which I shared with you some Fallen Empires cards that had some, mistakes. They had the wrong game on the back. And one of the things that I said was Fallen Empires has way more mistakes than any other set ever printed. And, well, let me kind of elaborate as to how and why. The thing about it was, you gotta imagine this was a long time ago, and Magic was really starting to catch on. The problem was they were having a hard time keeping up with demand. As a retailer, you might order 10 cases, and then you get 3. And so, retailers started to catch on. They'd had several instances where, you just ordered a bunch and you got like a third of it. So what happened was, these retailers were thinking, hey, if I want 10 cases, I should probably order 25. Well, meanwhile, Wizards of the Coast is realizing that this is an issue, so they are doing what they can to meet their expectations. So they hire a whole bunch of new employees. I think they might have even opened up 1 or 2 new plants. And I mean, so you have a bunch of new people, and what are they doing? They're printing off Magic cards. And the guy that wanted 10 cases, but he ordered 25, well, he got 25. So what does that mean? Fallen Empires is everywhere. Back in the day, Fallen Empires was an okay set, but, obviously by today's standards, it's not very good. But, I can really testify. I mean, I remember, like, literally, I would be, like, in the young men's department buying a pair of jeans, and then right there at the checkout counter is Fallen Empires. I mean, you could go to like a department store and they would have Fallen Empires, and it's probably the only set that they ever carried. I don't know what. There's just so much of that crap everywhere. Well, the thing is, I mean, with all those cards being printed, especially by new employees, they made some fantastic mistakes. And now let me show you one of their more notorious ones. Here we have a Fallen Empires common. Everything looks fine until you flip it over. What we have is we had a common printed on this side, and then you had the back printed on it as well, as it should, and then you had it run through the common sheet again, which is upside down relative to the rest of the card. So for those of you that are not aware, Hymn to Tourach, Goblin Grenade, High Tide, those Pump Knights, the majority of the decent cards from Fallen Empires are commons. So you can find cards like these. So let me just drop in a scan so that you can see it a little bit better there. There you go. That's the card I just showed you. And that, so you have the front and you have the back. And so again, I mean, if you're looking for the Hymn to Tourach and the, Goblin Grenades and stuff like that, you would have, well, essentially 2 different instances. You'd have that nice clean side, and then you would have the double printed side. But I can assure you that at least 1 copy of every card is like that. I have seen a Hymn to Tourach, and let me just drop in a scan there. See, check it out. That is the one and only Hymn to Tourach that I've seen like that. And then you also have another card that I own is a Pump Knight. So check that out. That's one of the few reasonably good commons in the set. Now, my only hope is that, back in the day, see, we didn't really play with sleeves very much. I was actually ahead of the curve and got my old clear baseball card sleeves so that I could, play with the cards and not damage them as much. But the problem was, with that being how everyone played with their cards, be it, unsleeved or, just the beginnings of, sleeving their cards, you really couldn't play with cards that were extraordinarily screwed up like you can now, because we have the opaque sleeves. So the unfortunate thing is, I mean, you just kind of hope that some guy didn't open up a whole bunch of these screwed up cards and go, oh, these are worthless, and throw them away. But I can assure you that there are plenty of these cards to be found, but I have yet to see a duplicate. So I would love for somebody to be able to prove to me that there's at least 2 copies of each card. And I'd love to see some other Tourachs or Goblin Grenades, stuff like that. But there you go. I mean, I showed you what I've got. That's, well, actually, I've shown you every single one I have. Yeah, other than that, I mean, you can see how and why Wizards would have made a lot of these mistakes. There are other really good Fallen Empires mistakes that I will be covering in the future. And there are other instances similar to these in other sets that I will also be covering. There are a few that I own, and I'm actually trying to get even more. So when I do, I will be sure and cover them. And for those of you who are watching, subscribing, thank you very much. Other than that, questions, comments, concerns, feel free to go a hold of me. Otherwise, I will see you next week. So take care.